Hello and welcome back to another episode of Strong Collectors Comics. I'm your host Jordan, joined today by my lovely and plucky co-host Dakota. Now, there's a lot of rumors we hear about comic book movies, comic book properties. Seems like there's always a new one coming out. And we're fascinated by those, so a little bit of a spoiler alert, folks, if you don't want to hear any kind of rumors or speculations. But that's one of the things we do best is speculate. So we're going to distill down some of these rumors that we've been hearing. And there's been a lot of chatter lately about the potential plot of a fourth Spider-Man movie in the MCU. So, Dakota, to set the scene for us here, we remember where the last Spider-Man movie left off with No Way Home. We kind of had a clean slate for Spider-Man, it seemed. You know, people forgot who he was. He's doing his thing. And I think a lot of the hope was that that would be continued with that storyline. But what we know now, we're going to get Avengers Doomsday first, which Spider-Man is definitely going to be being in that movie. And then there's going to be Spider-Man 4, and then Avengers Secret Wars. So the big question is, what's going to happen in Spider-Man 4 if it's sandwiched between two Avengers movies, right? One of the latest rumors making the rounds is that Sadie Sink from Stranger Things is joining the MCU. People were thinking either either Spider-Man or X-Men. And anytime there's a redheaded character joining, there's probably two people you think of, and one of them's going to be Jean Grey or Mary Jane. So if we're operating in this context of it's Spider-Man, people are thinking, okay, what's going to happen in a Spider-Man 4? Because rumor had it Sony wanted to do more multiversal. Kevin Feige maybe wanted to do more grounded street-level stuff. And a way people are thinking that might happen is if they do a Battle World style thing, where between the Avengers movies, Doctor Doom creates this Battle World, and in one of these realities, like in the comic books Renew Your Vows, there's like a traditional Spider-Man Peter Parker story. He's with Mary Jane, he's doing his thing, and then, of course, that eventually plays into the bigger frame of Battle World. So how would you feel, Dakota, if that was the approach to kind of satisfy both the multiversal thing and giving you a more regular, classic Spider-Man story?
I feel like I really love the idea of doing kind of a Renew Your Vows world for Spider-Man and like having kind of that like alternate reality full movie. I think it's really cool.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm going to lean more towards the rumors being that Sadie Sink is going to be Jean Grey, because I think it just doesn't make any sense whatsoever to be like, oh, she's actually MJ, even though there's already an MJ in this world. We're just going to like...
Mm-hmm.
To me, that seems a little race swappy for no reason. And
Right.
so I don't know. You could maybe dye her hair blonde, and just because she's redhead now doesn't mean she can't wear a wig and be Black Cat or something.
Right.
That'd be fine.
Or
but it
Gwen
just
Stacy.
seems
We never got an MCU Gwen Stacy.
true. And I think even with that, I wouldn't mind if we just kept Tom Holland in the main continuity, and then we do this like Battle World with Andrew Garfield, and that's where Andrew Garfield meets his MJ. Which I don't know if Sadie Sink and Andrew Garfield, that seems a little too like, he's like, what, 20 years older than him? Or 20 years older than her? Seems a little weird to be
Probably
like
more
Peter
or
Parker's
less.
dating a 20-year-old, and it's kind of like,
Right.
you know, that just is a little strange to me. So again, still doesn't really work as an MJ.
Right.
But I would rather see Andrew Garfield get that movie and then continue on. But I think that's a long
Yeah.
shot there.
Yeah, I think doing like a standalone Andrew Garfield as Spider-Man movie would work. I feel like in this context, they'll definitely want to keep that as one of Tom Holland's movies. But I think doing like something with Andrew Garfield would be a cool self-contained Spider-Man story. I guess my first thought goes to, even with this MJ thing, would Sadie Sink probably have a cheaper price tag than Zendaya, is my thought.
Probably, yeah.
Because then you could say, well, do we need Zendaya in this? She's got a lot of other movies, projects, things like that. So maybe she's got other things going on. So they're like, well, could we do that? And then maybe you fold that back in. But yeah, I think conceptually, because I was kind of bummed when they first said, well, maybe they want to do multiverse for the next Spider-Man, which I'm like, that was kind of cool to do it for the third one. And I think he set it up really well to have Spider-Man doing his own thing, fighting Kingpin or Scorpion or, whatever you want to do.
Mm-hmm.
So I think to go back to, like, all the Spider-Man are teaming up again, to me, would be kind of lame. So if they are moving forward with that, I think that would be kind of a good compromise to make it like Renew Your Vows style, where maybe he doesn't quite realize what's going on, and as the movie progresses, kind of the illusion of,
Like
hold
the
on,
Matrix,
we're part of this domain.
Yeah.
Yeah. And maybe that's too derivative of the last Spider-Man, where it's like he's got to give up his friends and family or something, but I think you could still make that work as, like, an idea of, like, eventually he's plucked from that or has to leave that to be like, we got to go fight Doom because, he's the one behind all this. So maybe, like, you could have, like, something from the bigger, like, the other domain, because I think they did that in one, like, an Old Man Logan, the Battle World, like, an Ultron head flies over the barrier wall, and Logan finds it, and he's like, huh? And it kind of leads him into this, like, we're in this patchwork reality that's kind of not quite what we think it is. So maybe you have, that could be your kind of cool cameo or something near the end, like somebody bursts through, and it's like, wait a minute, what the heck? And then, we go from there, something like that.
That would be cool, yeah. I like that. Because I don't think they would do it much, but, like, it'd be kind of cool if they did some more of those battle worlds where you got, like, a weird world, or you got, like you said, an Old Man Logan, even though they've kind of already done that. But, like, even if it was just a Disney Plus series to do some of those other battle worlds sprinkled in. Because I think that's a really cool idea that you would never get otherwise, to do some of those offshoot stories.
Well, and the rumor is you might be seeing the Thor core. Do you remember those?
Oh, yeah.
From Secret Wars?
That'd be fun.
Where it's like the multiversal Thors are kind of like the cops of the battle world. So, like, they go from precinct to precinct or whatever. So maybe, like, yeah, you have some kind of weird Thor variant or something that shows up, and it's like, wait a minute, and then... So I think there is a lot of fun stuff, because with Secret... Like, if anything deserves spin-offs, that was cool about the Secret Wars 2015, was that, like you said, there's so many different worlds you could, like, dive into and spend time with. So I would rather them do that if we're gonna... Because I think that, like, the window of getting what you wanted, like a classic Spider-Man going to college trilogy, is probably not going to happen in the MCU. I think, like, with Tom Holland's time frame, I just don't know if I see Tom Holland doing Spider-Man for the next, even 10 years, maybe. I think he's even kind of talked about wanting to pass it on to somebody else. So maybe...
You pass it on to me, I'll take it.
I'm sure they'll try to work in... Sure, yeah, you'd be great. I'd actually rather see that, to be honest. So, I don't know, maybe this would be their way to kind of give him that, and then he kind of maybe wraps up his time in Secret Wars. I could see something like that happening, depending on, like, if they want to say, here's Miles Morales now, and we're going to try to make him the new Spider-Man or something. I wouldn't be surprised if that's what's coming.
That would be cool. I'd like that idea. I also don't mind my hard reset after we get done with these planned movies. Just hit the reset button. Everything ends, starts over.
Right. Well, yeah, and I think at this point that might be... I don't know. It'll be interesting to see how it all shapes up with where they land, and I guess we know it's like in 2 years, so have a better idea then for sure.
Yeah.
But until then, we're definitely going to speculate and make up whatever we can imagine for what might be coming next for the MCU. Those are some of our thoughts on the alleged plots of Spider-Man 4. You let us know below, folks, what you would like to see in the next Spider-Man movie, if it's fitting between these Avengers movies. What could they do? How do you feel about Battleworld? Please be liking, sharing, and subscribing. And until next time, as always, stay strong.